Welcome to my tutorial for GRIDD for the PC, and this is on multiple platforms. This game took me around 4 hours, 18 minutes to beat, and you have to beat the arcade mode to unlock the endless mode, which I never tried. I think it's just like a survival mode for high score. But basically you have one life to beat the entire game. It takes 25 minutes to beat the game, so it's a single run, 25 minutes, you know, because it's an auto scroller, so it takes about 25 minutes. It's an on-rail shooter, kind of like Star Fox. Though the visual style reminds me of Lawnmower Man for the Super Nintendo, and some of the music and shit like that. The flight segments in that game, it kind of has that aesthetic to it. But the game is quite good. I like it, but it has a lot of jankiness, so that makes the game a lot harder than it should be. The camera is constantly twitching in all these different directions, which throws off your whole fucking orientation and perspective. It kind of fucks you all up as far as the movement goes. So you really got to use that reticle on the screen to kind of figure out where you're orientated. But it makes it very difficult at times to not get hit. There's also a lot of enemies that hit you when you don't even realize what the fuck hit you, because there's shit that zooms in on the camera, like you saw that. I don't know if that snake can hit you at that point, but he can hit you during the boss fight when you fight him, when he does shit like that, and it's real spastic. So there's a lot of, like, you know, stupid shit like that where you really shouldn't be getting hit by a lot of the attacks, but it's just like you can't see what the fuck is going on too well. So for this guy, you wait until those rocks converge into one big one, and that's when he's going to fire it out. So as long as you keep kind of circling around, you'll dodge it. And you want to shoot the red orb on his body to destroy him. But yeah, the game is just move and shoot. There's no power. I mean, there's power-ups, but there's no like bombs or special weapons. There's a shoot button, and you just move around. This is a part where I always get hit a lot for some reason, and I never really figured it out. But you want to kind of circle around and keep firing and try to take these guys out, but they just kind of rush into you super aggressively. So I always take, you know, several hits on that part. And I don't have a great solution for it, but my main thing is I keep circling around the screen in a circular motion and firing. Now, I said you only have one life to beat the game, and that's not completely true. You have one life to start with, but there's these two hacking sequences, these backdoor hacking sequences. And in those sequences, you can earn an extra life on each one, so you can earn 2 extra lives. Which would have been massively helpful for me to beat the game a lot sooner, because it didn't take me super long to get to the last boss. Though the last boss is about half the length of the game, so because you get to the last boss doesn't mean you're at the very end. You might be about halfway through. But basically, after you shoot these fucking things and get in here, you're going to be in the hacking sequence, which I'm probably going to try to explain several times, maybe even after the video ends, because it's hard to explain. But the way you get a 1-up in this sequence is going to be there's going to be like 3 sequences that play with this triangle. It's going to do 3 different positions, and there's going to be a beeping sound after each one. Those are the 3 positions. That's the order you have to shoot this thing in. So right now it's showing you the sequence, and it's going to show the sequence more than once, I believe, but you only have to do the first 3 that it shows. So now I shot the triangle in the position that it was in first, right? So now I got the little sequence where I got to collect the numbers. Now, when you're collecting the numbers, you have to collect every single number or it'll reset the whole sequence. So try to grab them all, otherwise you won't be able to get the 1-up. And it'll reset it, and I don't know where it resets it to, but it becomes very confusing if you fuck it up even once. Then you probably won't even get it. It took me a while to figure out what the fuck was going on and how to actually do this, but that's how it works. I think it might always be the same sequences every time you get to that part. So I think it's like the triangle has to be kind of just flat, and then it has to be kind of facing down, and then it's flat again. I think that's the sequence for that first one, and that's when you shoot it, and you'll shoot it until the triangle goes away, until it completes it, and then you're going to have to pick up all the numbers, and you have to do that 3 times with those 3 sequences. I don't know if that was explained well, but it's kind of confusing to explain. So for this guy, you got to shoot him in the eyes, and, you know, pay attention to the sound, because that's when the laser's about to come out. When it makes a sound, you'll notice it after a while. And that's when you got to start moving in a circular motion, and you got to get used to where to move in that position so that you don't get hit by the laser. And it can be tricky. I kind of like dragged it out on this attempt. I have gotten up to the very end of the final boss fight on a single life on my best attempt, but this time I ended up getting all 2 extra lives, so I had 3 lives. So I was actually able to kind of fuck up near the end, and I was able to survive. So that helped tremendously. Otherwise, it would have taken me a little bit longer to beat the game on a single life, though. I was getting pretty close. It's just there's all this janky shit, even when you know the game, there's a lot of janky shit. So what you want to do is wait for this to open up so it's yellow and then shoot it. Look where your reticle is and just shoot it. And you just want to clear space so you can move through. Remember, I'm just explaining how I survived this mode, not how to get a high score. I don't care about the multipliers and all that bullshit, you know. So you just want to clear space and then it'll move. But remember that this is your first introduction to enemies that reflect your lasers back to you, which can easily get you killed. So you do not want to fire when one of them is shielded, because it'll fire the laser back at you really fast and it'll do a lot of damage. So the challenge with that is that the lock-on kind of sucks in this game. There's an auto lock-on that your reticle locks onto the enemies, and it's really shitty when it comes to multiple enemies. So what will happen is while you're trying to shoot the yellow thing that's open, you're going to shoot the shielded one because the lock-on is going to spaz out and go over to the one that's closed. And then you're going to get a laser reflected back at you. So be ready to dodge in case that does happen, but there's a good chance you'll get hit if it does happen. So it's shit like that, you know, makes the game a lot fucking harder. There's especially a part later on that's really hard to orientate with and move with. And I'm going to try to explain how I did it, but I took practice. A lot of this is going to be practicing the routines and the dodging and getting used to how you can pull it off. Whatever works for you, that's what you're going to do. But for this boss, you have to shoot all these orbs on top of him, and then you're going to be able to shoot him in the back and start removing his spinal column pretty much one by one. And as you do that, he's going to get closer to death. This fight can drag on for a while if you don't get the powered up shots, but the thing with the power-ups is they can often appear out of fucking nowhere, like on the edge of the screen, and you don't have time to get to them. Or they're in the same spot where the boss is, so you can't get it or you'll get hit. There's a lot of like weirdness with trying to drive through the power-ups. Like, you know, I missed that one even though I was touching it. But you have to be lined up with them a certain way. So the best way to line yourself up with things in this game is to check where your reticle is, because that's kind of where you're lined up. So that can give you an idea of where you're at. But it's not always easy to do. Like I said, that's the biggest challenge with the game. Like, the obstacles themselves weren't too bad for me to learn, but I would get fucked over by a lot of weird camera twitching and other weird shit, power-ups that I should have got. So, you know, expect some jankiness and stuff, but I mean, if you play it long enough, you should learn the route. It is a short game at least, but it's it can be pretty difficult. So here you got to shoot these circles that open up. But it's a pain in the ass because the auto-targeting sucks, and if you shoot one of them that's closed, it's going to reflect your laser back at you yet again, which can get you killed or damaged. When he shoots that pink beam out, you kind of want to circle around, but you don't want to do wide circles because there's laser beams on the outside of the arena, so you'll hit into them. So you got to do like these kind of small circles around it. And it does a lot of sporadic stuff, but you'll get used to the way it moves after dealing with it enough, but it can be a pain in the ass, like a lot of shit in this game. So once you shoot all those circles off, he's going to pop off his front cover. That can hit you, and it has killed me before. So, you know, be ready to dodge that. What I'm really going to focus on explaining is trying to explain that bonus scene where you can earn the 1-ups again, that hacking sequence. I'm going to explain it again when it appears, and then I'm probably going to explain it a third time at the end. So I'll try to hammer it down, because I'm not really good at explaining shit like that. And if you ask me a year from now, I probably won't remember what I learned in this video, because I'll be playing other shit. You know, I use my own tutorials to refresh my memory when I have to beat ports of the same game. Like if I beat this on Switch a year later, I'll be watching my own tutorial. So I kind of use these as my own tool as well, because they don't really get a lot of views, but I find them really fucking useful as a tool. Since I'm a high volume player, I beat games in a very high volume, sometimes 600 a year, so it helps for me to have like tutorials that I can use for ports of games. I did try playing this on Switch at first, and I was playing on the emulator, and so for this part, you don't want to shoot those shielded boxes. You got to wait for them to rotate. It's a pain in the ass because you want to clear space for you to move through, but the orientation is so fucked, and the auto lock-on sucks. So the lasers will bounce off the wrong one, and then the laser bounces back at you, because obviously you're shooting the squares that are open and showing yellow, and then you're moving through the hole that you made. So that's what you're doing for that. Initially, you don't have to do that for the first wave of these boxes. You can shoot them normally. But same thing here. Wait for the yellow to appear, then you can start shooting. As soon as it closes, stop firing. In this game, you want to get used to not firing all the time because there's a lot of stupid shit that reflects lasers back at you, which is like one of the hardest things about the game, aside from all the other bullshit. So yeah, the Switch version on the emulator, the control was hypersensitive as far as how the shit moved. It was even more spastic, but the biggest issue I had when I played it was that it crashed on the first stage. So I'm going to try it again on the emulator, but I'm not going to buy the game for $12. You know, I already bought it on PC for like $2. I'm probably not going to buy it on Switch just to get a more like better running version. So I'll try it on the emulator probably at least once more to see if it doesn't crash at the same spot. And then maybe I'll try to beat it on Switch. But I believe this game is probably available on, all the major platforms, I would guess. But it's a pretty obscure game. So again, we have the hacking sequence. So pay attention to the order that it's displaying these positionings. And it's going to beep it after each one. And that's going to be the order. So here it's flat. It's just a flat. You saw it was just the triangle was just kind of flat. That's the first one. Second one is the triangle facing down. Make sure you get every single fucking number. Don't miss one. See, I missed it. I fucked it up. So now I'm trying to recoup. So I shoot the down one again since that's the one I fucked up. That didn't seem to work. So now I'm shooting a different one. I shoot the flat one. So for some reason that worked. I guess it skipped the down position. That's where I got confused on this one. I usually never get this second hacking sequence, but I got it somehow. But you got to make sure you collect every single number. And I can't tell you, like, what happens if you fuck up one and miss one of the numbers that you're trying to collect, because it confuses me, and then I don't know where it resets the pattern to. I have no fucking clue. So then I'm just guessing at that point. But I'm lucky that I figured this out at all. I didn't figure this out until I actually, on the run that I beat the game, was when I figured out how this actually works. I tried watching videos and studying them. I tried reading about it online, but it just I couldn't get a definitive answer. But then someone mentioned something about collecting the numbers. I was thinking, all right, maybe I've been collecting the numbers, but maybe I was missing one, and that fucked it up. And I think that's why I was fucking up, because I was trying to collect all the numbers, and I may have missed one. So this is actually the final boss fight, but it goes on for over 10 minutes. It's most of the game. So you're going to be dodging shit and doing particular things for each wave. So pay attention to what I'm doing if I can't explain everything in time. But you're going to repeat this sequence of dealing with all this shit for 3 entire segments of this. 3 rounds. And each round gets harder with more shit to worry about. More density of attacks and such. So it can get pretty tough. These, you can kill them when the shield rotates and exposes the reds. That's when you fire. So you don't want to hold down the fire button for this part. There's a lot of parts, like I said. Don't just hold down the fire button. I did mention the power-ups, but I didn't explain what they do. Obviously, health is your health bar. If it's a plus symbol, that's going to give you more health. Shield will replenish your shield, which means that you don't take health damage until your shield is depleted. And the other main thing is, like, if you find a one with like little gunshots in it, that's going to power up your weapon. And you can get that up to like where you're shooting 3 beams at once, and I think you can then power it up another time and get it to be where it does more damage with the 3 beams. But I don't know what the power max is, or if I ever achieved the maximum power shot. But if you can get it up to 3 beams, it's usually pretty fucking good. So this is this bullshit again, but much more aggressive with these speeding things. It's the same kind of thing. I kind of try to go around in circles and shoot, but these can sometimes be a pain in the ass. I don't know if they're random, but it's easy to get caught up on shit. So try to dodge it best you can. So don't shoot here, because it'll reflect back at you. Now you're going to have to move with this part. So what you got to do, keep your reticle so that it's middle of the screen with that metal thing that rotates. You know what I mean? Between the gates. Try to line your reticle up with that and move with it. You know, like, see, I fucked it up there, so I lost my first life here. Because this part is a pain in the ass. But you want to try to move with it. And the best way to line yourself up, I found, is to line up that shot reticle with the middle thing, you know, between the two gates. Whatever that metal thing is in the middle that you have to shoot at. Obviously, you can only shoot at that thing when it's exposed, so don't fire at it otherwise. Otherwise, it'll bounce back and hit you. Now, my health was good, so I grabbed the shield. Between phases, you can grab one of whatever power-up you'd like. I always go for health, because I'm just trying to survive. Because if you get hit once or so, you'll lose your weapon power-up anyway. I think you lose a weapon power like by 1 each time you get hit. It goes down 1. So if you only have 1 weapon power-up, yeah, you'll be a little bit better. But if you get hit, you'll probably lose it right away. So it's very easy to get hit by stuff. So for this part, I just do this half circle up here and keep firing. And I almost never get hit on this part. So that's what works for me. Prior to that, for the caterpillars that were, you know, the big centipedes that were moving around, I just stay like in the middle of the screen and I make slight adjustments at the middle bottom of the screen. So that's how I did those 2 phases, and it's pretty consistent for me. I don't have too much problem with that. You can try to shoot some of these, but if you have single shot, you won't be able to kill a lot of them. You won't be able to do enough damage. So the goal here is just survive, and don't keep firing the whole time, because those stupid millipedes, if you hit the metal part of their body, it's going to reflect it back at you, and the lasers are going to come right back at you and hit you. You know, from your own gun, you're going to be shooting yourself, basically. So these are the times when you want to just lay off the fire button. I mean, if you're going for points, it's another story, but... So you're going to shoot the red things and these things to split them apart, because these walls can be very annoying, especially the ones that don't have the red things. Like the first wave in the beginning is really annoying, because it seems random, and they can appear like right in front of the screen, like they can block your view, and then you get nailed. So it's just fucking annoying. So for this guy, what we're doing is we're going to go in circles the whole time. And we're going to try to do tight circles around his body so that we're connecting with him with our shots. If you do a wide circle, you're not going to be hitting him while you're firing. Remember, don't fire when his metal is closed, because it'll reflect. But you want to do like tight, small circles around him, just tight enough to dodge those triangles. And just keep that shit going. Now, if you don't do it like that, you're going to be shooting at him for a much longer time, because you're not going to be hitting him while he's shooting at you. So to maximize damage, you want to do like tight circles around him. You know, don't do them super wide, because the auto lock on won't trigger and it won't connect with the weak spot on the guy. So again, we have to do this again. We're getting to the end of the second round. Like I said, it's 3 rounds. So I was just pausing to shake out some numbness out of my hands. But yeah, you got to do 3 rounds of this shit, and then you're on the final phase of the boss, which is pretty easy. It's almost like a freebie. I beat it the first time I got to it. And I was down to my last life. So now I think we got to do this sequence that I don't like. So try to line your reticle up to the center, like I said, with that metal thing. And try to just move very slightly and move with it. It's a pain in the ass because the camera is so fucked up. Now, as far as when that thing is going to shoot out that big metal barrier that you just saw, you're looking at the thing that's spinning above the weak spot. See those things spinning? When they start spinning super fast, it's about to fire at you. So get out of there before that happens. Now, if you hit him aggressively enough and get enough bullets in, you can stop him from going into a third phase with that moving wall, which, the sooner you end that, the better. So try to get in as much damage as you can without getting hit. So now we have these things again, but this time they have shields on some of them, and it'll reflect your lasers back. So for this, it's better to not even fire. Otherwise, you get fucked pretty bad. So what I do is I stay all the way at the bottom of the screen, and I just kept moving left to right rapidly. I find I took very little damage by doing it this way, if any at all. I'm not sure. Hard to tell if you're getting hit sometimes, but this is what I do for that. And I'm not really doing any skillful dodging at that point, but I figured out that it just worked. So this part is a pain in the ass to me because it's hard for me to tell what the fuck is going on. Like I said with this game, it's hard to tell why you're getting hit, what the fuck is going on a lot of times with some of these attacks. But the idea is I try to stay away from those guys with the pink lightning, because after a while they're going to shoot a pink lightning bolt up into the air, which it's easy to hit you. So I try to avoid them, but I'm still not sure. Like maybe I didn't have to avoid the pink lightning on the ground, but I was trying to actually avoid that too. But maybe I should have just focused on, the actual enemies themselves that shoot the shit. But I didn't have enough practice on this part to actually learn the right way to do it. So, I probably took a lot of damage here. And I just have the single shot on my gun, so it's weak. So this thing takes a lot of hits. But just try to avoid that shit. Now, again, we're facing all the same obstacles again, pretty much, but it's just ramping up in difficulty. It's much more aggressive. So, be ready for that. These are very easy. You can keep firing and just try to take these out. They don't have any shields or anything. It's just really easy. It's like free kills. And this is actually nearing the end at this point. So we got to dodge this one more time, but it's a more aggressive one. It's easy to get like pinned in the edge of the screen, but so now we got to do this one more time. So it's the same thing. It doesn't change. Every time you do this, it's the same shit. But it's a pain in the ass to do this 3 times just because it's bad enough to do it once. It's really easy to fuck up. See, I died again on this segment. It's a part that gives me a lot of trouble. It's kind of like 50-50 if I don't get hit. But after we finish this, now we're going to be on the last phase of the boss, which is pretty easy. So see where the eyeball is? That's like a gap right there. Stay in that area because he's going to break off that metal face mask, and you want to kind of stay around that gap and then circle around. And then by that, you won't really get hit by those metal pieces if you do that. So for this, you just keep firing and try to dodge these pillars. Luckily, you get power-ups in between this, so if your health is low, get health. If you have full health, get shield. If you have full health and full shield, then maybe get the gun power-up. But I was just trying to survive, so I prioritized my health and shields. I just wanted to make sure that I survived it. Even though I had this single shot, it was very weak, but it was good enough. It's better to just play it careful, in that case. So yeah, now it's going to repeat several times. It goes on for a while. But, it's pretty easy. It's easy to get caught up on shit and not understand what you're really looking at sometimes, but just keep getting the health. You shouldn't be taking tons of damage on this. If you got this far, I don't think this is going to be too bad. But yeah, those metal pieces from the face mask can hit you, though, so. This thing is almost dead now, though, so. Grabbing some more shield. This may be the final. Though I don't remember. I know it goes on for a while. But, I didn't think it was difficult because, you get a lot of power-ups. So I feel like it's kind of more of a, a free phase. This was a good game, though, overall. It definitely has a lot of issues, but I had a lot of fun with it overall. Just completing it and shit was cool. And I may try the Switch version just to see if it runs properly on the emulator. But yeah, the main thing to learn from this video though is is how to do those bonus stages. So just remember, I think the order of sequences that you gotta like shoot at for the triangle, I think they're the same each time, but they may be random, so I don't want to say that for sure. But just pay attention to the order of the sequence, and then make sure you collect all those triangles on the ground when they appear. You have to get every one, and if you don't, it's going to reset to some point in the sequence, and I'm not sure if it starts over from the beginning or what it does. So if you fuck it up, I can't really explain that, but I did end up succeeding in this run, even though I fucked up the second hacking sequence. If you have any questions, let me know, and thanks for watching.